Have you ever been walking through a quiet forest and suddenly heard a rapid, rhythmic tapping sound echoing through the trees? Chances are, you were hearing the incredible work of a woodpecker, one of nature's most skilled and fascinating drummers. These birds are more than just noisy neighbors. They are a vital part of woodland ecosystems all around the world. From the giant pileated woodpecker with its fiery red crest, to the tiny downy woodpecker that might visit your backyard feeder, this family of birds is incredibly diverse and full of amazing surprises. They are true masters of their environment, perfectly designed for a life spent clinging to tree trunks and chiseling into solid wood. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Woodpeckers belong to a family of birds called Picidae, which also includes their close relatives, the piculates, wrynecks, and sapsuckers. There are over 200 different species of woodpeckers found on almost every continent, except for Australia, New Zealand, and the polar regions. They have adapted to live in a wide variety of habitats, from dense, ancient forests and sprawling woodlands, to suburban parks, and even desert landscapes with large cacti. Their constant drumming is not just random noise, it's a complex language used for finding food, carving out a safe home, and communicating with other woodpeckers. Their presence is a sign of a healthy, thriving forest, full of the life that sustains them, and many other creatures. What makes woodpeckers so special is their unique and highly specialized lifestyle. Unlike many other birds that build nests out of twigs and grass, woodpeckers are expert carpenters, excavating their own cavities deep inside tree trunks. This incredible ability not only provides them with a secure place to raise their young, protected from predators and the elements, but it also creates housing opportunities for countless other animals. Their lives are a constant testament to the power of adaptation, showing how a creature can evolve to fill a very specific role in its environment. Studying them reveals a secret world hidden right in plain sight, a world of powerful drumming, intricate communication, and surprising intelligence. So the next time you hear that distinctive rat-a-tat-tat in the woods, take a moment to stop and listen. You are hearing the sound of a truly remarkable animal at work. This essay will take you on a journey into the secret life of these feathered percussionists. We will explore how their bodies are built to withstand incredible forces, how they find their food, the ways they talk to each other, and the crucial role they play in keeping our forests healthy. We will also look at the challenges they face in our modern world and what we can do to ensure their drumming continues to be a part of nature's symphony for generations to come. It's a wild adventure, so let's get started. The first thing you have to ask yourself when you see a woodpecker hammering away is, how do they do that without getting a massive headache? The answer lies in their incredible anatomy, a perfect toolkit designed for a high-impact lifestyle. A woodpecker can peck at a tree up to 20 times per second with forces over 1,000 times that of gravity. To protect their brain from this constant powerful jarring, they have a series of amazing adaptations. Their skull is made of thick, spongy bone that acts like a shock-absorbing helmet, cushioning the brain with every single blow. This structure is incredibly strong yet lightweight, a marvel of natural engineering that allows them to perform their daily tasks without injury. Another key piece of their protective gear is a special bone called the hyoid apparatus. This is a very long, flexible set of bones and cartilage that the tongue is attached to. Instead of just sitting in the bottom of the mouth, the hyoid bone wraps all the way around the woodpecker's skull, starting at the beak, going under the jaw, up the back of the head, and over the top, sometimes even reaching the nostril. When the woodpecker strikes the wood, this structure tightens up like a safety belt, further absorbing the shock and directing the force away from the delicate brain. It's an amazing internal seatbelt that works in perfect harmony with their specialized skull to keep them safe. Of course, all that pecking would be useless without the right tool for the job, the beak. A woodpecker's beak is not like a typical bird's beak. It is incredibly strong and chisel-like, made of a tough outer layer of keratin with a dense, bony core. It is constantly growing to replace the material that gets worn away from all that hammering. Just before impact, the woodpecker tightens the muscles in its head and neck, closing its thick eyelids a millisecond before it strikes the wood. This not only protects its eyes from flying debris, but also helps keep the eyeball securely in place, preventing it from popping out from the intense force of the impact. To complete their toolkit, woodpeckers have feet and tails that are perfectly suited for climbing and clinging to vertical surfaces. Most woodpeckers have what is called a zygodactyl foot, which means they have 2 toes pointing forward and 2 toes pointing backward. This arrangement gives them a super strong, pincer-like grip on the bark of a tree. They also have very stiff, pointed tail feathers that they use like a third leg, propping themselves up against the tree trunk for extra stability. This tripod stance provides a solid foundation, allowing them to put all their energy and power into their drumming without losing their balance. When a woodpecker hammers on a tree, it is not always looking for a meal. Often, it is sending a message. Drumming is the woodpecker's primary way of communicating over long distances, serving the same purpose as a songbird's beautiful melody. Each species has its own unique drumming pattern, a distinct rhythm and speed that other woodpeckers can recognize. A male woodpecker will find a particularly resonant surface, like a hollow dead tree or even a metal chimney on a house, to broadcast his presence. This loud, far-reaching sound is used to attract a mate and to warn other males to stay away from his territory. It's his way of saying, "This is my spot, and I'm looking for a partner." Once a male has established his territory through drumming, he must defend it from rivals. If another male enters his area, the resident woodpecker will often engage in a visual display of dominance. This can involve raising the crest on his head, flicking his wings, and performing a sort of dance, where the 2 birds swing their heads back and forth. They may chase each other from tree to tree, calling loudly to assert their claims. These disputes are usually settled without physical fighting, as the birds are trying to conserve energy. The goal is to intimidate the intruder into leaving, ensuring the resident male keeps control of the best nesting sites and food sources in the area. Communication isn't just about drumming and aggressive displays. Woodpeckers also use a variety of calls to talk to each other. These vocalizations can be sharp, rattling calls, soft pick notes, or even squeaking sounds depending on the species and the situation. These calls are used to stay in contact with a mate while foraging, to alert others to the presence of a predator like a hawk or a snake, or to communicate between parents and their chicks inside the nest cavity. This combination of drumming and vocal calls creates a rich and complex language that is essential for their survival and social interactions throughout the year. Building a nest is another critical part of a woodpecker's life, and it is a job that both the male and female share. After a pair forms a bond, they work together to excavate a new nest cavity each year. This process can take several weeks of hard work as they chisel out a deep, gourd-shaped chamber inside a tree. This fresh, clean cavity provides a safe and secure home to lay their eggs and raise their young, protected from predators and harsh weather. The act of building a nest together strengthens the bond between the pair and is a crucial investment in the future of their family, ensuring the next generation of drummers has a safe start in life. Woodpeckers are famous for eating insects, and for good reason. A huge part of their diet consists of wood-boring beetle larvae, ants, termites, and other bugs that live inside trees. But how do they get to them? After hammering into the wood to expose an insect tunnel, the woodpecker deploys another one of its incredible tools, its tongue. A woodpecker's tongue is extraordinarily long. In some species it can be more than twice the length of its beak. It is tipped with sharp, backward-facing barbs and is coated in sticky saliva. The woodpecker can extend this amazing tongue deep into insect galleries, snagging its prey and pulling it out. It's like having a built-in spear and flypaper all in one. While insects are a primary food source, the woodpecker menu is actually quite varied. Many species, like the acorn woodpecker, have a fascinating habit of creating granaries. They drill thousands of small holes into a single tree, called a granary tree, and then wedge an acorn tightly into each hole. This creates a massive food pantry that they can rely on during the winter when insects are scarce. Other woodpeckers, known as sapsuckers, drill neat rows of shallow holes in trees to get the sap flowing. They then use their brush-tipped tongues to lap up the sweet, sugary liquid, along with any insects that get trapped in the sticky sap. The foraging activities of woodpeckers play a hugely important role in maintaining the health of a forest. By eating vast quantities of wood-boring insects, they help to control populations of pests that could otherwise damage or kill trees. They are like nature's tree surgeons, identifying and removing infestations that might be hidden deep beneath the bark. This benefits not only the individual trees but the entire forest ecosystem. Their presence is a sign that the natural system of pest control is working effectively, keeping the woodland in a healthy balance. They are truly one of the forest's most valuable guardians. Perhaps the most significant ecological role woodpeckers play is that of a keystone species. The nest cavities they excavate are essential for many other animals that cannot create their own. Once a woodpecker family is done with a nest, it becomes a ready-made home for other birds like bluebirds, chickadees, and some species of owls and ducks. Small mammals such as squirrels, chipmunks, and raccoons also use these abandoned cavities for shelter and to raise their young. Without woodpeckers constantly creating new homes, many of these secondary cavity nesters would struggle to find safe places to live. In this way, the hard work of a single woodpecker benefits an entire community of forest creatures. Woodpeckers are, honestly, just incredibly widespread, and can be found in wooded habitats all across the globe. Their range covers North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa, which really demonstrates their amazing adaptability. The key ingredient for a good woodpecker habitat is, of course, trees. They thrive in all kinds of forests, from tropical rainforests and temperate deciduous woodlands to the vast boreal forests of the north. Some species have even adapted to live in more open areas like savannas, parks, and suburban backyards, as long as there are enough suitable trees for nesting and foraging. The specific type of forest often determines which species of woodpecker you will find there. Different woodpecker species have different needs when it comes to their home. For example, the massive pileated woodpecker requires large, mature forests with plenty of big, dead or dying trees, known as snags, which are soft enough for them to excavate their large nesting cavities. In contrast, the much smaller downy woodpecker is more adaptable and can thrive in younger forests, city parks, and even orchards. The Gila woodpecker of the American Southwest has made a remarkable adaptation to desert life, carving out its nests in the giant saguaro cacti. Each species has carved out its own niche, specializing in a particular type of tree or habitat. Unfortunately, many woodpecker populations are facing serious threats due to habitat loss and degradation. As forests are cleared for agriculture, urban development, and logging, the trees that woodpeckers depend on for food and shelter disappear. This is especially problematic for species that require old-growth forests, as these ecosystems take centuries to develop and are irreplaceable in the short term. The removal of dead trees or snags from managed forests and parks is also a major issue. While people often see dead trees as unsightly or hazardous, they are a critical resource for woodpeckers, providing soft wood for nesting and a rich source of insect food. The loss of suitable habitat forces woodpeckers into smaller and more fragmented areas, which can make it difficult for them to find mates and sufficient food. This isolation can lead to a decline in genetic diversity and make populations more vulnerable to disease and other threats. One of the most famous examples of a woodpecker driven to extinction primarily by habitat loss is the ivory-billed woodpecker, a magnificent bird that once inhabited the vast bottomland hardwood forests of the southeastern United States. Its tragic story serves as a powerful reminder of how fragile these specialized birds can be, and just how dependent they are on the health and existence of their forest homes. Woodpeckers have captured the human imagination for centuries, appearing in myths, folklore, and art from cultures all around the world. In many Native American traditions, the woodpecker is seen as a symbol of protection, strength, and good fortune. Its drumming was sometimes thought to be a sign of impending rain or a message from the spirit world. The vibrant colors of species like the pileated woodpecker, with its brilliant red crest, made their feathers highly valued for ceremonial purposes. These birds were respected as powerful and important members of the natural world, often associated with courage and perseverance due to their tireless hammering. In ancient Roman mythology, the woodpecker held a sacred status. Picus, the first king of Latium, was a son of the god of war, Mars. According to legend, he was a handsome man who was turned into a woodpecker by a scornful sorceress whose advances he rejected. Because of this story, the woodpecker was considered a prophetic bird, and its appearance or calls were interpreted as omens by Roman augurs. This connection to prophecy and divine power shows that for a long time, people have seen something special and mysterious in the behavior of these birds, linking their rhythmic drumming to the heartbeat of the forest itself. Of course, in modern times, the most famous woodpecker of all is probably the cartoon character Woody Woodpecker. Created in the 1940s, Woody, with his crazy laugh and mischievous personality, brought woodpeckers into popular culture in a big way. While he may not be the most accurate representation of a real woodpecker's behavior, He made the bird a familiar and beloved figure for generations of children and adults. This playful image has helped to create a general fondness for woodpeckers, even if it sometimes overshadows their true nature as complex and ecologically vital animals. He is a cultural icon, forever linking the rat-a-tat-tat sound with a sense of fun and chaos. However, our relationship with woodpeckers is not always so positive. Sometimes their natural behaviors can come into conflict with human interests. A woodpecker that decides to drum on the side of a wooden house, a metal gutter, or a telephone pole can be quite a nuisance. They can cause property damage by drilling holes in siding or eaves, searching for insects, or attempting to excavate a nest. While this can be frustrating for homeowners, it is important to remember that the bird is simply following its instincts. Understanding why they are doing it, whether for food, nesting, or communication, is the first step in finding humane ways to encourage them to take their drumming elsewhere. Despite their resilience and adaptability, many woodpecker species around the world are facing significant conservation challenges. The single greatest threat, as we've touched on, is the loss and fragmentation of their forest habitats. Deforestation for logging, agriculture, and urban sprawl continues to shrink the woodlands they call home. This is particularly devastating for highly specialized species, like the red-cockaded woodpecker of the southeastern United States, which requires mature, open pine forests with old trees infected with a specific fungus that softens the heartwood. As these specific forest conditions disappear, so do the woodpeckers that depend on them. Another serious challenge is the widespread practice of sanitizing forests. In many managed woodlands, parks, and even suburban areas, dead and dying trees, snags, are quickly removed. People often view them as messy or dangerous. But for woodpeckers, these snags are five-star restaurants and luxury apartments all in one. They provide the softest wood for excavating nests, and are teeming with the insect larvae that make up a large part of their diet. When we remove snags, we are effectively removing the most important resource that woodpeckers need to survive and raise their young. This lack of suitable nesting sites can severely limit their population growth. Climate change is also emerging as a major threat to woodpeckers. Shifting weather patterns can disrupt the delicate timing of the seasons, affecting the availability of food sources like insects and sap. It can also alter the composition of forests over time, potentially making them less suitable for certain woodpecker species. Furthermore, increased frequency of extreme weather events such as catastrophic wildfires and intense storms can destroy vast areas of woodpecker habitat in a very short amount of time. These large-scale changes are creating new pressures that these birds are struggling to adapt to, pushing some already vulnerable populations closer to the brink. Finally, some woodpecker species face threats from invasive species and disease. For instance, the introduction of the European starling to North America has created intense competition for nesting cavities. Starlings are aggressive birds that will often harass woodpeckers and steal their freshly excavated nests, forcing the woodpeckers to expend more energy to create a new one. Diseases like West Nile virus can also impact bird populations, including woodpeckers. These cumulative threats, habitat loss, lack of snags, climate change, and competition, create a difficult environment for many woodpeckers, making conservation efforts more important than ever. The good news is that there are many things we can do to help protect these amazing birds, and ensure their drumming continues to echo through our forests. The most impactful action is to support the conservation of forest habitats. This means advocating for sustainable forestry practices that preserve old-growth trees and the crucial dead snags that woodpeckers need. Protecting large, connected tracts of forest is vital, as it allows woodpecker populations to move freely, find mates, and access diverse food sources. Supporting organizations that work to purchase and protect forest land is a direct way to help secure a future for woodpeckers and all the wildlife that depends on these ecosystems. On a more local level, we can make our own backyards and communities more woodpecker-friendly. If you have a yard with trees, one of the best things you can do is to leave dead trees or large dead branches in place, as long as they do not pose a safety hazard. These snags provide invaluable resources for nesting and feeding. You can also put up suet feeders, especially in the winter, to provide a high-energy food source that many woodpecker species love. Planting native trees and shrubs that support local insect populations also helps to build a healthy food web that will benefit woodpeckers and other birds. If you have a woodpecker that has decided to drum on your house, there are humane ways to deter it without causing harm. Often, the bird is drumming on a resonant surface like siding or a gutter to make a loud noise and establish its territory. You can try hanging shiny, reflective objects like old CDs or strips of foil near the spot, as the movement and flashes of light can scare them away. Sometimes hanging a wind chime or other noisemaker can also be effective. If they are drilling for insects, it might be a sign of an infestation in your home's wood that needs to be addressed. Blocking the area with netting can provide a temporary fix while you find a long-term solution. Education is also a powerful tool for conservation. By learning more about the important ecological role of woodpeckers and sharing that knowledge with others, we can help change perceptions. We can help people understand that a dead tree is not just an eyesore, but a vital part of a living ecosystem. We can teach our communities about the importance of woodpeckers as keystone species that create homes for so many other animals. When people understand the value of these birds, they are more likely to support efforts to protect them and to tolerate their sometimes noisy behavior. Every person who appreciates these birds becomes an ally in their conservation. From their shock-absorbing skulls to their incredibly long tongues, woodpeckers are a true marvel of the natural world. They are far more than just birds that peck at wood. They are master carpenters, dedicated parents, and vital members of their forest communities. Their rhythmic drumming is the very pulse of a healthy woodland, a sound that signifies a complex world of communication, territorial defense, and the search for food. Each species, with its unique calls, colors, and habits, adds another layer of richness and diversity to our planet's ecosystems. They are a testament to the power of evolution to create perfectly specialized creatures for a unique way of life. The role they play as a keystone species cannot be overstated. By chiseling out new cavities each year, they provide critical shelter for a vast array of other animals, from tiny wrens and bluebirds to owls and squirrels. Their tireless foraging helps to keep tree-damaging insect populations in check, acting as nature's own pest control service. A forest with a healthy woodpecker population is a forest that is thriving, balanced, and full of life. Their presence is an indicator of ecological integrity, and their absence is a silent warning that something is wrong. Protecting them means protecting the health of the entire forest. As we have seen, these remarkable birds face an uncertain future. The pressures of habitat loss, climate change, and other human-caused challenges threaten their survival. But their story does not have to end in silence. By making conscious choices to preserve their forest homes, to leave dead trees standing, and to appreciate their role in the environment, we can all contribute to their conservation. We have a responsibility to be good stewards of the natural world, and that includes making space for our wild neighbors, even the noisy ones who drum on our houses. Their survival is intrinsically linked to our own ability to maintain healthy, functioning ecosystems. So the next time you are out in nature and you hear that familiar, energetic drumming, take a moment to appreciate the incredible animal behind the sound. Think about the amazing adaptations that allow it to hammer away without harm, the complex messages it is sending, and the vital work it is doing for the health of the forest. The woodpecker is a symbol of resilience, industry, and the intricate connections that bind all living things together. They are one of nature's greatest success stories, and they are worth listening to, learning from, and protecting for all the generations to come. The world would be a much quieter and poorer place without them.